So, welcome to my channel. I am Yoga with Penny, also known as Sacred Lotus Touch Massage and Yoga. This is my first video in a while, and this is for one of my massage clients, but I thought I'd put it up on YouTube. It's a yin yoga class when we're going to use blocks and a blanket. So, you'll definitely need blocks. Don't use those hard cork blocks because they won't be pleasant in these poses. You want nice soft foam blocks. You can get those at online or TJ Maxx or Marshalls, whatever you have around you. So two of those, perhaps a blanket, because the block may be a little intense for some of you. So our first yoga pose, yin yoga, is going to be a supported fish on blocks. So for this case, there's several different ones, but for this case, you're going to take the one yoga block is going to be for your head, and it can be on any level. 3 is the highest if you have a lot of neck issues, 2 or 1. Okay, I'm going to have mine on level 1. And then this block is going to go right between your shoulder blades. That's our target area. So right between the shoulder blades, so those rhomboids and some of the other muscles. So I'm going to come back onto my block and make sure my head finds the other block. And then you're going to wiggle around a little bit. You'll know when you get this just right. Won't feel right until it's right between the shoulder blades, not on the shoulder blades. And then wiggle around a little bit. Find your neck and head comfortable. And we're going to hold these for anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes tonight. You at least want to hold your yin yoga postures for a minute to get into those deep tissues, but the longer the better. So up to 5 minutes, depending on how much and how deep you want to go. This is like you're doing your own deep tissue massage, getting into those deep tissues, the fascia, not the muscles. That's why we don't warm up in this class. In this practice of yin yoga, we let the muscles stay cool so the postures can work their way into the deeper tissues of the fascial system. So with all that being said, sink into your blocks. Hopefully you took all that time to wiggle around to get just right. And you let go. You feel your body dropping into the block, into the mat. Heavy, scanning your body from head to toe, making sure you don't have any areas of tension. See if you can let go a little more. Remember, if your mind starts to wander, focus your attention on your breath and the gentle rise and fall of your belly with each breath in and out. We have about another minute here. Know if this is feeling really delicious, you can hit the pause button and stay here as long as you want. Just a few more breaths now. As it's important to go into your pose correctly, it's even more important to come out of your pose with mindfulness. Most injuries occur in yoga coming out of a pose, not going in. So we're going to transition out of this pose first by bending our knees, placing our feet on the earth. Take a moment there, a breath in and a breath out, and gently roll to one side or the other off of your blocks, nice and slow. You're going to come off, you're going to rest your head on your bicep. Reach around, grab those blocks, just move them off to the side. Push them, move them, whatever you want to do. And then to come further out of this pose, you'll roll right back onto your back. Hug the knees into the chest, feel the whole spine against the mat. So that was an intense, not only opener for the place between the shoulder blades, but also it was a pretty big back bend. So maybe a little rock side to side here. And then eventually you're just going to take your feet mat width apart, just place them down, and do a few windshield wipers here. I'm going to do a pose for the shoulders and one for the hips tonight. Short and sweet practice, targeting upper back, shoulders, and hips. So a little side to side here. And when you feel like you've had enough, you'll hug those knees into the chest, roll onto your side, and press yourself up. And we're going to do the shoulders next. So a nice one for rotator cuff, especially the subscapularis, which is anterior or in front of your scapula. You have on the back of the scapula, you have the supraspinatus, infraspinatus muscles. No test on this, but in front of it, tucked between the ribs and the scapula, is your subscapularis. And it can get pretty tight. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a block. We're going to be on our ground, but it's going to be right and up, superior, no, not superior, right behind the armpit, not on it. You have a lot of nerves in the armpit, so you don't want that to be on your armpit. So what I'm going to come do is come down to my side, bring that block right under my armpit. Again, remember, if you're feeling any kind of sharp electric pain, you need to roll back a little bit or forth so that goes away. And then once you're there, you rest your head in your hand, you have your knees drawn in. And I'm going to just roll back and forth a few times to find my sweet spot, which is right there. And again, not right in the armpit. You want to feel it kind of in that muscle right in front of the scapula, the subscapularis. And it's part of the rotator cuff. We have 4 muscles there. Supraspinatus, which brings your arm into abduction. You have the infraspinatus and the teres minor, which externally rotate your shoulder. And then you have what you're working on now, the subscapularis, which internally rotates. So it's a muscle that doesn't get a lot of attention. Even when I do massages, it's a little tricky to get in there. So this is a good one to just hold and let the block do the work for you. Again, 2 to 3 minutes in this one. Now, when you do shoulders like this, you want to go a little less. So we'll go ahead and do 2 minutes. Some of the shoulder ones, you don't need as much time. Hips, we need a lot of time on those. There's those bigger muscles. So let's take another 45 seconds here and sink in. And again, if this is feeling delicious, just stay a little longer, but honor your body. Don't go too far. Remember your breath. Pay attention to the breath anytime your mind wanders. A few more breaths. And coming out of your pose mindfully, you're going to take the hand that's not on the block and slowly press yourself up. Nice and slow. I want you to feel the echo of the posture. So take a moment just to sit with the eyes closed or open and notice the shoulder you just worked compared to the shoulder that you haven't worked yet. Feel the difference. Notice any coolness or heat. Feeling of the blood flowing a little bit better through that area. And then let's go ahead and do the other side. So just switch the block to the other side. Remember, not on the armpit, not in the armpit itself, but sort of behind it a little bit. And you'll put your head, rest your head in your hand, draw your knees in, and then rock back and forth. So you find your spot, your sweet spot. It'll be different for everybody. And then there's mine on this side. I'm actually rolled back a little further than I was on the other side. Now I feel that delicious discomfort there. Nothing sharp, nothing electrical, just some deep pressure there that is needed. Sometimes if you've healed from like a frozen shoulder or anything like that, this muscle can become very involved in frozen shoulder. It's not the only one, but it can be one of the main ones that causes frozen shoulder. So after you've healed from it, this might be a good way to keep that muscle and all the fascia intertwined in that muscle open. Again, this will be a 2-minute hold. We're almost at a minute now. So let your body sink. Notice if you're holding anywhere. Keeping your mind focused on your breath. Coming in and out of the nose. About 3 more breaths here. And then mindfully coming out, pressing the palm into the earth. And then bring yourself up to a seated pose. Notice if you feel more even now once you find your seat. Maybe roll both those shoulders up, back and down a few times. And just let them drop. Maybe resting your hands in your lap. No tension there. And then just notice. And then our last postures for the hips. This is where your blanket might come in handy. So have everything to the side. We're going to go into a hip flexor opener. Your hip flexors are your deep muscles that take your leg from extension into flexion. Okay. And they run along your vertebra, your lumbar vertebra, and down into the hips, and they come into your trochanter muscle. So what we're going to do is don't do that. Come down onto your back, hug your knees into your chest, and then plant your feet. So you're either going to take one folded blanket Lift your hips up and slide your blanket under. Or if you can go a little higher, you can take one block on a flat level and place it under your hips. Or if you want a little bit more, take 2 blocks on the flat level. No more than that. And you're going to make sure your sacrum, that's that bony triangle between your hip bones in the back there, make sure that's resting on whatever you have that area on, that low back area. So this is phase 1 for people, whether you're on your blanket, 1 block or 2 blocks. Just stay in a supported bridge. Okay, you're opening up the hip flexors. Now, phase 2 would be to take 1 leg long. Okay, and I'm feeling that stretch. You're going to notice it deep in. Okay. And then if you feel like you can do both legs, you're going to do both legs. Now we're going to hold this for 3 minutes. I'm going to do both legs for 3 minutes, but if you have 1 leg on and 1 leg bent, I'll switch you halfway through. Just take some nice breaths here. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Maybe bringing the arms overhead if that feels good. Stretching your body long. Here, a little pontoon boat here. And just sink into the block. Try not to hold any tension in your body. Let the posture work. Let gravity work. You are just there, hanging out, sinking heavy, letting go. And if you do have 1 knee bent and 1 leg long, go ahead and take the time to switch now. Almost there. About 5 more deep breaths. And now, of all our postures we did tonight, this is probably the most important one to be mindful coming out of. So, bending both knees, placing both feet on the earth, take a pause and supported bridge. If the arms were up and overhead, bring them back down by your side. And then press into your feet, lift your hips up, and draw blankets, blocks, whatever you have underneath your hips out, and lay your vertebra down one at a time, super, super slow. Once your bottom lands, bring your feet wide, let the knees rest together, drape your arms across your body. This is the rebound. We rebound in stillness after every yin yoga pose. And sometimes we'll add movement as well. Take some time to switch the arms, placing the opposite arm on top. Now bringing your arms out to a goalpost on the floor. Keep your feet wide, but bring the knees apart. And then windshield wiper the knees slowly side to side. And a nice little something to do with this is when your knees drop left, look right. And slowly drop the knees to the other side, to the right, and gaze left. These movements are nice and slow. Slow windshield wipers. And then hug your knees into your chest when you're done doing that. Do a little back stretch. Roll to your side and press yourself up. So that's all I have for you tonight. I do plan on making more yin yoga videos. If you would like any postures for an area of the body, comment below and I'll set up more classes, yin yoga classes, and also some power yoga. But I just thank you for watching the video and being here with me tonight. Have a blessed day. Namaste.